Good morning to you all. And well, as a Portuguese native, I welcome you to Portugal, this wonderful country that is happy to have you and to do business with you. Well, my journey, I started as a consultant at Accenture after leaving management school, and then I brought a private equity fund to Portugal, investing in internationalization of Portuguese companies, investing more than 100 million euros back in 1999. So imagine, a long time ago, one of the first private equity funds that was developed here in Portugal. Then I was for a long time a family office manager of one of the greatest family offices in Portugal, so I was really glad to see Brad's presentation, because I think, well, family offices and technology, sometimes they don't mix together so well, so it's great to see that somebody is innovating in this field. There's a lot to do in this space, so it's something that I really enjoyed doing by mixing all different profiles and investment thesis into one only family and company, and it was really a challenge. Well, after that, I was invited to come and be the CEO of Startup Portugal. Startup Portugal is a branch, an agency of the Portuguese government, namely the Ministry of Economy, that deals with entrepreneurship and startups and deploys public policies and designs the national strategy for entrepreneurship in Portugal. When post-COVID funds came into several countries in Europe, I don't know if you know, but well, Europe heavily supported the post-COVID phase with high public funds deployed to companies and to individuals to overcome the COVID period. And we had the opportunity in Portugal to deploy 125 million euros to startups and entrepreneurs, and the mission was given to Startup Portugal. So they invited me to, well, restart Startup Portugal and to transform it into an actual player and an active agent in developing entrepreneurship, startups and founders in Portugal. The last 4 years, that's what I've been doing. So meeting a lot of bright people in Portugal, a lot of great entrepreneurs. Portugal is now one of the main entrepreneurial hubs in Europe, so internationally recognized as one of the main hubs for entrepreneurship in Europe. We are home of 7 Portuguese-founded unicorns that are making history around the world. In crypto, well, we saw the crypto world here being advocated. We have, for instance, Anchorage Digital, founded by Diogo Mónica, which is the first crypto bank allowed to operate in the United States. So amazing, a company that is worth more than $4 billion US dollars. And well, we are a vibrant country that supports heavily entrepreneurship, investors, and the whole tech community and investors community. I think this, as a brief presentation, is enough, and I'm happy to answer.
Amazing, yeah. So maybe we can touch on international investors coming to Portugal. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? Kind of, what is your perspective on that?
Okay. Well, Portugal is a good country to enter and to come into Europe. Also, it has a geographical situation, and it's amazing to connect different continents because it's centrally located between America, Africa, South America, Brazil, namely, that speaks Portuguese, and it's a market with more than 200 million people, and obviously the rest of Europe. We are a peaceful country. Well, I think I don't need to say that we are a sunny country, more than 300 days of sunshine a year, imagine. I think that is a good reason to come and invest in Portugal. And we are investor friendly. So we have several public policies in place that help investors to thrive and to tackle the usual difficulties that somebody has to start up an investment company. We can create a company in a matter of hours. Our country is much less complicated to set operations than, for instance, Spain or France. We have a public program that it's called Simplex that makes it really easy for new entrepreneurs to set up the companies. Also, the venture funds, they are tax efficient in Portugal. They don't pay company tax in their profit. They only pay at the liquidity moment when deploying to their LPs at competitive rates. We have recently, and this was a measure from Startup Portugal, we have recently put in place really interesting measures, tax measures to attract entrepreneurs and new founders to Portugal. For instance, we have the most attractive tax regime for stock option plans in Europe, where employees of startups and their founders pay only a tax rate of 14% at the liquidity moment. This is better than the United States. It's half than what you can find in the UK. It's less than half than Spain and France. So this makes a difference, and it's a competitive advantage for investors and founders to come and do business in Portugal. Also, we have a program that allows employees of startups that come from abroad, so foreign employees for startups. If you are a legally recognized startup in Portugal, and I can tell you also about what is a startup legally in Portugal, because it's innovative, and it's a law that we created to differentiate this type of companies from others. But if you are a legally recognized startup in Portugal and you want to recruit a foreigner, then your foreign employee will pay a individual tax rate of only 20% during 10 years, the first 10 years. So this is a really good argument to come and set up your company as a founder in Portugal, attract investors to your company, and build your talent in Portugal by providing really interesting and competitive advantages to your employees by paying less taxes. We have a network. Well, investors are looking for pipeline, right? So I forgot to say before, but I also lecture at Nova University. It's one of the top universities in Portugal, namely for engineering and management. And something that it's really important coming from the university seats is the entrepreneurial spirit, okay? So what I'm doing there is to bring and let young kids to have from university seats entrepreneurial spirit, okay? And there are entities in Portugal that really help that to happen, not only individual people teaching entrepreneurship in colleges, but also advanced course in engineering in several universities in Portugal. So the talent is really also a good point, a good argument to come and invest in Portugal. But we have a network, and this is really useful for investors. We have a network of 130 incubators spread all over the country, and 130. So the ratio of incubators by population, I think it's the largest in the world. You cannot see countries in Europe with such large number of incubators that cover the whole territory, and they are excellent ways to connect with local entrepreneurs, with local universities, with local agents and stakeholders to help you invest and to help you look for pipeline, okay? So if you are an investor, if you are a business angel, if you are a small investor, one good way of looking at it is go to the field, go to incubators, go to the Portuguese incubators. It's a network of 130 incubators all over Portugal, and see with them and see the companies that they have in their portfolio that they are incubating, and talk with their management and see the good opportunities that you can have by investing in those companies. I would say that Portugal is a very effective quality of life and business country. So it's very effective in connecting and articulating a good quality of life, low cost of living, and a good business environment for investors. So I think you can find that all here. We have a quiet network of foreign investors living in Portugal that don't want to come in the first pages of newspaper and in media. They want to live a good quality life, but they cannot live without doing some business. So they are trying to, well, it's natural for them. They want to make some money. They enjoy the adrenaline of seeing a good business to start and to develop. And we have an increasing network of foreigners, high net worth individuals coming to Portugal, discreet people like you, like the members of VNTR club, that are settling in Portugal, sometimes in the coastal areas. They are really popular: Cascais, Estoril, Comporta, Melides, Algarve, even the islands, okay, Madeira, now Azores, which is a paradise, my personal favorite. You can find different spots in Portugal, really close to urban centers, and you can set up your activity there, get some public funding, because the state in Portugal supports and the local municipalities support the coming of investors and the start of new activities in their regions, and commute and have a good mix of urban cultural life with coastal paradise or rural retreats. And it's very interesting the way you can make that happen and that equilibrium happen. So I think this is also a good argument. I would say that the last one is talent. I think nobody set up a successful company and a future unicorn without talent. That's what I teach my students there. At the beginning, you have to show your talent. You have to bring confidence to the table. That's the first thing where investors will put their money in. I think the second one is your idea, but even if you have to pivot your idea, the talent, the confidence, and your energy is the main thing where investors want to invest, and we have that. So we have internationally recognized excellent engineers and managers that really make difference in terms of quality of talent. So I think this would be the mix of arguments and points to consider when settling an investment activity in Portugal.
Amazing. Can you talk about the differences between Lisbon and Porto? Right, it's kind of there. You launched a new conference in Porto over the past 2 years. There is a new conference called SIM.
Yeah.
So you're the one kind of started connecting Porto to the startup community as well. So what is happening?
You are going to Douro next weekend, so you can have in a short distance. You can stop by in Porto and see the amazing city that Porto is. Well, Porto is a vibrant ecosystem because it's the center of the northern region of the country, and in the north you have the largest entrepreneurs and the largest industrial companies that you have in the country. So the traditional industrial families are usually in Portugal from the northern region. So I would say it's like the Barcelona area in Portugal. So Barcelona and the region of Barcelona is related to Spain, as Porto is related to Portugal. In terms of contribution to GDP, it's by far the richest region in Portugal. And also the northern region, where Porto is the largest urban center, it has also the most relevant universities that teach engineering. And so there you have a lot of international multinational companies that are settling their data centers and their research center in the northern region, looking for engineers that come from Porto University, from Minho University, from Aveiro University, all regions that are located in the north region. So I think it's a good mix between heritage, culture. Porto is a very ancient, old city, older than Lisbon, because in Lisbon we had the earthquake of 1755, and Porto, they didn't have that earthquake. So in terms of architecture and heritage, it's amazing. It's amazing, and it's an excellent mix between families, high net worth families with family businesses, traditional family business, the largest in Portugal, and great talent and new technology entrepreneurs that are now doing some difference in that traditional world. So at Startup Portugal, I launched a SIM conference. SIM stands for Startup Investment Matching. I think you shouldn't miss the next edition. It's going to be in May 2026, and it happens in Alfândega in Porto, which is a lovely heritage building near the riverfront, and we got together. Well, it's not huge like Web Summit, but it's small enough for you to be able to connect and contact with everybody. So it's for 3,500 people, tops. We have more or less 200 speakers, and we have 400 investors usually, and well, it's the main stage for the Portuguese entrepreneurial ecosystem to showcase their capabilities and their abilities. So it's an easy way to find everybody that is relevant in the Portuguese entrepreneurial ecosystem. I know that Web Summit has that. Web Summit is amazing. I'm, well, a regular speaker at the Web Summit, and it's great to have the whole world in Lisbon in just a few days. In the SIM conference, you will have a concentrated main actor that is the Portuguese entrepreneurial ecosystem. So it happens in May, next May. I can, well, easily put you in and send you some invitations.
We'll do side events, so you guys are welcome to come visit and enjoy with VNTR.
It's a must go. It's a must go.
Last question: can you touch on your initiatives around like bringing Portuguese families to start investing in tech? Right, I think there is a lot of work to be done there. Right, most of them don't invest in venture.
Yeah, you're right.
So what is?
Well, let me tell you my story, because I was a manager of a family office in Portugal, and I had that same difficulty. I guess that some of you may know this well in practice. And well, families are per definition conservative, so they want to be very curated and criteria where they put their money. And the statistics in venture capital and in startups are really hard, because as you know, 95% of startups fail. Okay, you know, in the startup world, it's good to fail because you learn, and in the next venture, you will do something better. So failing is a CV, is a curriculum, is something positive to add to your CV, and not a negative thing. And how do you teach them? How do you bring a family conservative business to this mindset? It's really hard. So I struggled a lot in my case to bring investment in startups and in venture capital to this family that I was managing. But look, it's a great way of diversifying your assets under management, your portfolio. As you know, you lower your average risk if you do a well-diversified portfolio options, okay? So if you put 3%, 4%, 5% of your assets under management into startups or into a venture capital fund that invests in startups, then you will be doing a great portfolio management, because you will edge some different risks that you already have in your assets and in your portfolio. So it's interesting to look at venture capital in that way, and I assure you that the professional venture capitalists of the world make good money by investing in startups, because even if 90 or 95% of startups fail, the 5% that succeed will largely compensate the failures of the remaining ones.
And a quick question about the LP positions. Like, did you try to invite them to invest as LP into funds?
Yes. So what I did was bring to the family office not one or two investments. That's the wrong way of looking at it, because in that case, the risk of failure will have a big consequence in your portfolio. So you should invest in a portfolio, in a small portfolio. So I brought an existent portfolio that already had 2 or 3 years of history. So this brought some confidence to my investor, to my family that I was managing, okay? And it was a portfolio of 40 companies, okay? So we could already see, well, let's see how they are doing the last 2 years. We'll step in. They were making a capital raise and bringing new investors in. We paid a small premium because we were not from the beginning, but we were okay with a small premium that we had to pay by not being the first ones to invest. But in this case, we were exposed already to a small portfolio of 30, 40 companies that we were able to analyze and to know and to give us confidence to step in. All startups, all in the entrepreneurial world, and really easy to analyze and to evaluate as a group of companies that make sense to invest in.
We have lots of visiting GPs from around the world, raising LP money. What are your recommendations to build relationships with these big families from Portugal? Is it even feasible to raise money from them?
Yeah, well, I think Portuguese family offices are really conservative. Institutional investors in Portugal, they still don't invest in venture capital. I'm currently a board member at APCRI. APCRI is the Portuguese Association for Private Equity and Venture Capital Investors. So I'm inside that ecosystem, inside that community. We are doing a lot of initiatives to bring more LPs to Portugal and also GPs. So if you want to be connected with that community, please reach out to me, because I'm a board member at that association also. And well, I think the approach should start by presenting your value proposition. Well, as ever, do your pitch and differentiate yourself from the others, but expect some resistance, expect some defensive looks in Portugal. Unlike the United States, where more or less 60 to 70% from the capital, the assets under management in VC worlds come from pension funds and private pension funds. In Europe and in Portugal, I would say that 1% comes from pension funds and institutional investors. So in one way, you have a big opportunity here, because the local GPs and the local funds are eager to bring additional investors from this world, institutional investors. So if you are a GP and you can bring along some international LPs coming from the institutional side, amazing. So everybody here is looking for that, because in Europe and mainly in Portugal, we are super defensive in that part. And then I think it's all about networking, because
so how do you meet these families from Portugal? They're all hiding somewhere.
Yeah, well, if you go to SIM conference, you can meet a lot of them. We are at SIM conference, we have a specific agenda for LPs and for GPs, and they have at SIM a partnership with the Association for Family Businesses in Portugal. So you may look to that association, the Association for Family Business. You can reach out to me. I can also navigate with you that world, and you can come and, for instance, go to the Startup Portugal events. If you see Startup Portugal site, they have monthly events that bring together the community. So it's a very community-driven world here, and it's not an easy task, because they are hidden and they are a little bit defensive and they are very, very discreet, but you can do it if you are into the community and you start participating.
Amazing. Thank you, Antonio.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Big round of applause.
Enjoy.